Duke basketball is one of the hottest teams in the entire country, ahead of the hottest rivalry in college basketball. The rematch this season between Duke and North Carolina, a big win last night as Duke goes on the road to NC State and flexes their muscles. Let's talk about that and a whole lot more on Locked On Blue Devils.
Hi, everybody. Dick Vitale. Hey, make sure you listen, man, to Locked On Blue Devils with J.J. Jackson. He's awesome, baby.
You are Locked On Blue Devils, your daily podcast on the Duke Blue Devils, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into another episode of the Locked On Blue Devils podcast. My name is JJ Jackson. So great to have you here with us on this Tuesday, March 5th, 2024. Locked On Blue Devils is your one-stop shop where we discuss everything going on in the life of Duke athletics. March is here, and we've got good basketball to be talking about. The Duke Blue Devils back in the win column again after last night's game against NC State, a dominant victory for the Blue Devils, and we're going to discuss that with our pal Jordan Mann of the Big J and Little J show here in just a moment. If you have not done so already, please be sure to follow and subscribe to Locked On Blue Devils for free wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Also, make sure that you check us out on YouTube each and every day. We are climbing towards 2,000 subscribers. March Madness is here. Let's make it happen. Let's get to 2,000 subscribers here on the show. Just really do appreciate all the love and support that we're getting here on Locked On Blue Devils. So without further ado, let's bring him on in. It's my good friend. It's your good friend. Our good friend, Jordan Mann, is here with us to discuss last night's performance. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's a fantastic day to talk about Duke basketball. You know, I think Duke's been playing great basketball for about a little over a month now. So to recap the Duke win against NC State, a place where Duke has not done well in the past, it's a fantastic day.
Here we are a minute or so already into the podcast today, Jordan, and I think Duke just got 3 more offensive rebounds following the tone for what we saw last night. I mean, my goodness, you talk about some storylines from this one. As always, we'll get to those player stats in segment number 2, but dang, Duke was crashing the glass.
Yeah, man, I think I'm the only one right now that's beating the narrative that Duke might be the best offensive rebounding team in the country. I mean, the last 5 out of 6 games, counting last night, they have rebounded double-digit offensive rebounds while shooting 46% or higher, which is essentially, JJ, Duke is rebounding every other missed shot that they have. Duke's getting that rebound in the last 5 out of 6 games. The one game that did not happen was the Wake Forest loss, where Duke had 8 offensive rebounds and still shot like 55% from the field that game.
Incredible stuff from Duke on the glass, being able to attack shots. I saw numbers a little bit earlier over the last month. Duke is number 5 nationally in the advanced stats and offensive rebounding rates. So that speaks to your point right there, Jordan, that it just feels like they're always finding ways to make it happen. Ryan Young was really active on the glass yesterday. I think the guards even too might be some of the most surprising things. We've given Jared McCain his credit all year long, and rightfully so, but last night you see Roach and Proctor, TJ Powers getting up a little bit, getting some offensive, like literally everybody on the offensive side for Duke wants to go get a rebound.
Yeah, out of everybody that played, everybody that played for Duke last night had an offensive rebound except for Proctor, which is a wild stat. And 3 guys, Mark Mitchell, Ryan Young, and Mark Mitchell, Ryan Young, and Sean Stewart, all 3 had 4 offensive rebounds each. So 3 guys had 4 offensive rebounds each for Duke. Just an insane stat.
Big win for the Blue Devils last night, 79-64 over NC State as Duke improves their record to 24-6 overall on the season with 1 game left in the regular season. North Carolina comes to Durham. The Tar Heels are in action a little bit later tonight. Senior day for them at the Dean Dome, taking on Notre Dame. A North Carolina win means that they also are 24-6 overall on the year, and Duke would get the opportunity to play for a share of the ACC title come Saturday. Pretty remarkable stuff considering where the Duke team was, where people thought they were after the first loss to North Carolina this season, right?
Yeah, I mean, back-to-back years now, JJ, we have data of John Shire's Duke teams just progressing throughout the year. And that's what you want to see. That's what you want to see when you pull for a team. You don't want to see them playing their best ball in November, December. You want to see them playing their best ball in February and March, because March is where you win rings. I guess technically, JJ, April is the month, but you get where I'm saying that John Shire's teams back-to-back years progressing, and these two teams are completely different. Like last year's team, Dariq Whitehead was like the one guy that could hit outside shots. Now Duke has Roach, McCain, and Proctor. Oh, by the way, Flip can hit it every now and then. And then how about TJ Power? Three straight games playing double-digit minutes, and now he's a three-point shooting threat. I mean, this Duke team is just I love Shire. You know I've always been pro Shire, but to see this team's growth through game 1 to game 30 has been fantastic.
Yeah, ESPN had a rollout during their coverage yesterday of the ACC tournament primer, talking about, hey, it's in Washington, D.C. RJ Davis is the leading scorer in the conference and how remarkable he's been this season. And then this Duke basketball team leading the league, team three-point percentage. I mean, that's been a story all year long. 9 makes again in last night's game against NC State. 9 of 30. Duke's been way more efficient in some games, but that's a lot of makes. That's a big difference in some of their games that they're playing here compared to the opponent, which adds up. I mean, it's basic math, but it really adds up, and you could take advantage of a basketball game that way.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And Duke, just like last night, found a way to win a different way. Like Duke's not winning every game because Filipowski's scoring in the 20s and they have the same leading score every night. And it's not when they're missing shots. Like you said, 9 of 30. Like normally Duke teams get burned when they don't hit the 3 ball in the past. And so how does Duke counter that? Well, Duke crashes the offensive glass and Duke wins via that way. I mean, we'll get down to the individual statistics that pop out because I got to give Sean Stewart his flowers. But like Duke just finds ways to win different games. It does not matter. We've seen them get in the mud against Notre Dame, who recently has turned it on. And now you see them against NC State, like shot 30% in the first half, get 12 offensive rebounds. Oh, second half, JJ, 62% from the field. Jared McCain and Jeremy Roach just light it up.
Perfect stuff from the Duke basketball team. 9 makes from three-point range. NC State last night only had 3. A difference in 6. That's 18 total points. The difference, Duke, by the way, wins by a margin of 15. There you go, right there. All right, let's take our first time out of today's show. When we return, we're going to talk about some of those individual performances, including Sean Stewart. It's happening, folks. He's getting a role with this Duke basketball team, and it's been really, really fun to watch. We'll discuss that and a whole lot more when we continue in a moment. Lockdown Blue Devils here today is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. You know, of course, that we're talking basketball this time of year, and you can get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, and more. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and shoot your shot. FanDuel is an official sportsbook partner of the NBA and the Locked On Podcast Network. All right, let's move forward here on today's episode of Locked On Blue Devils. JJ Jackson alongside my pal Jordan Mann of the Big J and Little J show. You're doing all these remarkable breakdowns of these games. It's killer, man, when we get a quick turnaround between Saturday and Monday because we don't have enough time to talk about a remarkable performance that Duke had against UVA before all of a sudden we're having to break down what happened in the NC State game, man. Quick turnaround.
Yeah, quick turnaround, JJ. It really tested my stamina for sure because I worked Saturday night and then I worked Sunday afternoon, so I had to fit it in Sunday morning for the breakdown. But, yeah, you can see all my breakdowns. I just did NC State's breakdown this morning on my YouTube channel at jman_, and that's with 2 N's in man. And it's been great. Like one that I posted on Twitter that's getting some traction is Sean Stewart. Sean Stewart led a break that was basically the play of the game for Duke last night, JJ, where Filipowski knocks it away, lands in Sean Stewart's hands, passes it to Roach, who passed to Proctor. Proctor missed the layup. Sean Stewart missed the tip in, but then it led to McCain's 4-point play. And that was the play of the game, whereas against UVA, similar thing happened, JJ, but Sean Stewart tried to be a point forward, turned it over at half court, and Virginia got a layup. So break down those type of little plays to show, like, hey, learn from your mistakes. Sean Stewart did against Virginia, and then you see that Sean Stewart was the key to Duke's success, led the team, JJ, in plus minus at plus 20. You know I love plus minuses. Sean Stewart plus 20 in 26 minutes.
26 minutes, 12 points for Sean Stewart on 5 of 7 from the floor, 2 out of 3 makes from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 26 minutes again, blocked several shots for this Duke basketball team, and then did get in a little bit of foul trouble there with 4, but took on that DJ Burns matchup intensely. DJ Burns had a game-high 27 points. And this one, he was 12 of 19 from the floor for NC State. And Sean Stewart just didn't back down from any challenge whatsoever.
Yeah, it was a lot of growing pains for Sean Stewart against DJ Burns. Look, DJ Burns is unbelievable. I was joking with Connor about him on the Big J and Little J show. Like, hey, this guy was Big South Freshman of the Year, and then a year or two later, Big South Player of the Year. Can you imagine a Big South post player trying to guard this dude if Duke can't guard him and Duke has their guys? So Sean Stewart, great job. And what I love about Sean Stewart, JJ, about last night was take away the 12 points. He could have went scoreless, and his impact was insane. 3 blocks, 2 steals, and 4 offensive rebounds coming off the bench. That is fantastic. Like, that's what you want to see as a guy who's a big man for you is what can he do without the ball in his hands? 3 blocks, 2 steals, 4 offensive rebounds.
Let's keep it up. We want more of that from Sean Stewart in the games to come because it's just a big asset for Duke to have kind of a lob threat, a big body to defend and hustle and rebound and all of those things. And then the offensive game is coming around just a little bit. Speak to that, if you will. I mean, efficient from the floor, 5 for 7. Where do you think Duke's going to continue to get a lot of his looks, and what do you like of his offensive game so far?
Yeah, I mean, all of his looks come from Duke's pick and roll offense. But what I like most about that is he scored in 3 different ways. Like, there was one that I clipped in the breakdown where he catches a roll pretty far out on the perimeter to where the Morcell's coming over to take a charge, and it looks like it's all but going to be a charge against Sean Stewart. But Sean Stewart's so athletic that he can jump and change direction mid-air, and he avoided the charge and gets a layup. And then he had a floater, and then he hit a lob against DJ Burns. Burns was in drop coverage because Burns is not going to hedge any ball screen. So he's in drop coverage, and Proctor threw it over the top, and Sean Stewart catches it, and he finishes it. He gets an and one there late in the second half to put the lead, I think, to 9 at that point. But that's what I loved about Sean Stewart in the pick and roll and how he scored. But let me give one guy a shout-out too, JJ. Ryan Young, pod god. You see 2 points, but that dude's energy. Duke came out 9-0, down 9-0. And he comes in off the bench after Filipowski picks up 2 quick ones, and he immediately dives on the floor, and the ball rolls all the way underneath Duke's basket. Though NC State maintained possession, that set the tone of Duke's energy that Duke needed to lock in, and he brought it. I mean, 5 rebounds, 4 are offensive, and he just does things. He battled DJ Burns very well. Like, he was in foul trouble because of a couple of hand checks against Burns, but him one-on-one with Burns, that was the toughest matchup I saw with DJ Burns against any Duke big was Ryan Young, because Ryan Young did not budge when he tried to back him down. He had to settle for tough fadeaways.
Yeah, we saw with that matchup in particular, Kyle Filipowski get into early foul trouble trying to guard DJ Burns, so he goes to the bench a little bit. Mark Mitchell, another post player, post defender that Duke has at their arsenal if they would like. I'm looking at those numbers in particular with what Duke got from the offensive end of the floor, and it just speaks to, hey, Sean Stewart elevated his game to help carry Duke a little bit, because here we are, a game in which Mark Mitchell and Kyle Filipowski combined for only 14 points total, 9 for Kyle, 5 for Mark, and yet Duke still finds a way to win the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And comfortably winning the game, right? Though they're in the second half.
Comfortably winning the game, JJ, at a place where Duke's lost 6 out of the last 9. So this is I don't care if State has not won a game this season. That's a hard place for Duke.
They get up for this game. Yep.
Yes. And Duke just cannot hit the broadside of the barn when they play in Raleigh. And it showed in the first half. Obviously, second half's a different story, but this is why it's a team game, JJ. Tyrese Proctor had 11 points in the first half, all 11 in the first half. But if it wasn't for that and Ryan Young's effort in the first half, Duke would not have been winning at halftime. Those guys fizzle out in the second half, but guess who steps up? Jared McCain scores 14 out of his 16 in the second half. Proctor has 21 points in the game. Those 2 guys, so
Roach,
Roach picked up in the second half. So you have Proctor and Ryan Young setting the tone in the first half, and then you have McCain and Roach setting the tone in the second half. That's how you win the game. Complementary basketball, team game. Love what I saw from Duke as a team last night.
Excellent stuff for the Duke basketball team, playing like one of the hottest teams in the entire country, with North Carolina still ahead. Jon Scheyer, pretty animated once again throughout this game, which has just been so much fun to see this season. In the locker room sounds and in interviews after the fact, the players were speaking to, hey, it's Raleigh. It's right down the road. The fans courtside were really chirping and kind of letting us know about it, and this team just loved every second of that.
Yeah, this team loves to be in the mud and loves to talk crap. And look, like Jeremy Roach from DC, man, Jeremy Roach knows how to talk. Like Jeremy Roach lives for that moment. Jared McCain, like I said, separate. You can look at Jared McCain as a TikTok guy, does all these dances, but when he's in between the lines on that basketball court, he's going to talk some cash.
Yeah.
And he talk cash right back to the guys sitting courtside, and that's what you love. That's the type of basketball environment that Duke thrives in and Duke wants, and Duke has obviously succeeded in.
Got a pretty good head coach too, huh?
Oh my God, 51-15 in 2 seasons. Like he's already surpassed 50 wins in 2 years.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Quickest ever in Duke basketball history, if people haven't seen that kind of stat passing along. The quickest of 50 wins to start a coaching career at Duke University. Jon Scheyer is now 51-15 and just continues to make adjustments all throughout the season. The guards have been great as of late. I mean, what are some of those big things that you've been noticing from Scheyer specifically?
Honestly, just how, look, Duke's been without somebody in the top 6 of the rotation at least 10 games this year now, with Caleb Foster being out the last 3 games. Like, just to see him adapt well. Like, he put TJ Power in. TJ Power's played double-digit minutes the last 3 games for Duke, and he's been positive in the plus-minus in all 3 games. And he's come along. He doesn't need to give Duke 8 points off the bench. He just needs to play well enough where he has minimal mistakes, and that's what he's done. And Scheyer is just, all of a sudden, we're going big off the bench where TJ Power's playing the wing on offense, and then flip it over. Sean Stewart's guarding wings on defense. He's just plugging guys in, and it's working, and he's finding a rhythm with his guys where he's playing 8 legit players, and it's fantastic. And that's what Duke needs coming into March Madness.
Without a doubt, really fired up with what this Duke team looks like this time of year. Obviously, now you got to go execute on Saturday. Big sight here, big goals still left in the season, with an ACC regular season title on the line, the ACC tournament championship. Really, really want to cut down the nets. Gosh, we want that 6th national championship so bad. But we also want to beat North Carolina, right? It's UNC week. We want to get back right a little bit later this weekend inside Cameron Indoor Stadium. So let's talk a little bit more about that after we kind of wind down our show here on today's episode of Locked On Blue Devils. Locked On Blue Devils here today is brought to you by our friends over at Nissan. That's right. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little bit further? Have you ever wondered what adventure could be like around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. I'm talking about the 2024 Nissan Rogue. That's perfect for city drives and great escapes. Classic, exclusive, Google, built-in, always updating assistant to call on for almost anything in the car. The 2024 Rogue is the perfect midsize crossover for your next adventure. Nissan's incredible lineup also includes the 2024 Nissan Armada. Will change what you expect from a full-size SUV. Picture a rugged 4x4 that could seat up to 8 people in first-class luxury and style. Tow bigger and explore further in the 2024 Armada. Take the Nissan Rogue, the Armada, the Pathfinder, or whatever your choice is at Nissan and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Nissan is a proud sponsor of the Locked On Podcast Network. Final few moments here on today's episode of Locked On Blue Devils. JJ Jackson alongside my pal Jordan Mann of the Big J and Little J Show. It's UNC week, brother. The Tar Heels play a little bit later tonight against Notre Dame. We expect them to win this basketball game. They absolutely should win this basketball game. But then it's time to dance. Then it's time for Duke to get ready to rock and roll against UNC on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, look, they got Notre Dame. UNC has Notre Dame tonight, and Notre Dame's turned it on recently. So I wouldn't look too far past it. I know UNC should roll, but Notre Dame has shown some fight here in the last week of the season. So shout out to them. But yeah, like, look, Duke gave up 93 points the last time they faced off. That's not going to happen again. I can probably confidently say that won't happen again. Shire's going to have some type of game plan, but Duke's got to lock in for a big one on Saturday.
All right, North Carolina and Notre Dame right now, our partners over at FanDuel have the Tar Heels favored by 16.5 tonight. So I would expect North Carolina to grab the win, and that means Duke's got the opportunity to tie North Carolina for an ACC regular season title. All you got to do is tie. They will obviously be seeded 1 through whatever, but you will get to claim an ACC regular season championship, which would be remarkable if John Shire is able to do that in his second year.
Yeah, I was told, Connor told me to pull for an orange team. So basically it's a fight for the 4th spot for the number 1 seed for Duke. So Clemson and Syracuse are fighting for the 4 seed. So basically Wake Forest needs to lose. I think if Wake Forest and Pitt come in 4th, UNC technically wins the ACC. If Clemson and Syracuse win, then they finish 4th, then Duke wins the ACC. Obviously, if Duke beats Carolina also. So it's weird. It's basically coastal chaos is what I called it from Connor. It's like, hey, ACC coastal chaos. And he reminded me, well, it's only going to get worse next year with the addition of the 3 schools coming in with 18 teams now in the ACC.
Without a doubt, it's just going to continue to get harder and harder to figure out how we're seeding these things and competing for championships year in and year out. But it's going to be fun. And we know that Duke's going to be one of the top teams year in and year out because they've built that standard of excellence with this basketball program, which is something I think that we're all thankful and grateful for with this Duke basketball team. So a game on Saturday against the Tar Heels also means it's going to be senior day, recognition for players that are entering their final game inside Cameron Indoor. You think of a player like Jeremy Roach and what he's meant to this Duke basketball team, obviously been there for 4 years, does have that looming COVID year of eligibility. We'll see what happens with that, if he comes back to Duke, if he starts his professional career, if he transfers and plays elsewhere, whatever that next decision is, man, I'm excited that we get to celebrate Jeremy Roach because I do think there were times throughout his career where it was a little frustrating performances, but holy hell, man, I'm very excited we've had him on our side this entire year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, he's the reason why college basketball is special is a guy like him playing 4 years, sticking it out through thick and thin. It reminds me a lot of Quinn Cook, where Quinn Cook's freshman year was not off to a great start. Then he really progressed through his sophomore, junior, and then won a national championship his senior year. And so I hope that is the case for Roach. I know he has that 5th year, like you said, the COVID year. Hopefully, like if he does do something, I hope it's anything but transfer because seeing him in a different jersey would be very weird. I could not get over that. Like, could you imagine him playing at like Kansas for his COVID year like Hunter Dickinson is? So hopefully he graduates and moves on. If not, come back, roster rotation. But yeah, shout out to Jeremy Roach, man. A fantastic career and easy guy to pull for.
Other guys could be playing their last game as well. We know Ryan Young will be. He has run out of college eligibility. He's meant a lot to Duke basketball over the last 2 years. We've grown to love watching him play kind of the old man YMCA basketball type style to his game. I have loved watching him wear that Duke uniform the past 2 seasons.
Oh, my God, the pod god. Yeah, that might be just as emotional for me as Roach, to be honest. I've always been a Ryan Young stan since day one, and I just love a 6'9" guy that plays below the rim, but also is just so crafty like he is and the way he impacts the game. So, yeah, I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss watching him. But hopefully, like you said, it ends on the right foot and beating Carolina on senior night.
Hey, we got the 3rd dunk from Tyrese Proctor on Sunday against Virginia. Our guy Ryan's running out of time to get another dunk to his stats this season.
That would be great if he could do it on senior night. If he got it over somebody, I think I'd get suspended from Twitter yet again for what I have to say.
And then, Jordan, that's the last thing is that, hey, look, with it being the last regular season game, Duke is clearly a school that a lot of players are only there for 1 season before their professional basketball career gets to start. So Filipowski and Proctor, both with their 2nd year there, but the likes of Jared McCain possibly walking into Cameron for the final time. I mean, we really won't know until the end of the season, but some people are going to have those thoughts, and we're here to talk about it.
Yeah, people have those thoughts, and obviously with the roster, Duke's such a unique situation where so many freshmen come in, year out, so you don't really know how the rotation is going to be, like with scholarship-wise. But the one thing that's in Duke's favor now is the NIL, where you saw why Tyrese Proctor and Phil Palsy came back is because they had enough to where they wanted to come back for a sophomore year. And Jared McCain, he's projected like late first round, so who knows? Like, shoot, I'm pretty sure he gets paid through TikTok too, so it's not like the guy's really suffering for money right now. So that is in Duke's favor.
Absolutely. We'll see what happens. We'll see a fun game coming up on Saturday, and we, of course, will be able to talk about it all with you again next week, Jordan. Always do appreciate the time. Give us one more plug from where we can find you on social media and all the work that you do.
Yeah, find me on Twitter at JMansTakes. Also, the Big J and Little J Show. You can find the podcast on Apple and Spotify and on YouTube. It is currently uploading for YouTube and the Spotify account, so that should be up and running by the end of today. And then on that same YouTube account is JMan_ is the username. I'm posting a lot of Duke content now, and I hope you guys just like and subscribe. And as always, JJ, I appreciate you having me on.
We're going to go check it out. That's for sure. Jordan, thanks for the time. We'll see you again soon, okay?
Appreciate it, brother.
All right, that's Jordan Mann joining us here on today's episode of Locked On Blue Devils. And that's going to do it for our show here today. Thank you so much for your support. As always, check us out on X at LO_Blue Devils. I'm there as well at _JJ_Jackson_. Make sure you follow and subscribe to Locked On Blue Devils for free, wherever it is that you get your podcasts, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That'll do it for today's show. As always, go Duke. I'll talk to you tomorrow. My name is JJ Jackson. Thank you and good day.